bitches.
I'm not OCD about everything.
Well, I just gotta make sure because sometimes I don't know and you're like, what the fuck, Lisa?
I get super offended when people don't bless me.
Why do people say bless you after they sneeze?
Here's what I found.
I don't know, I have to read this very much today.
So we're going to talk about motivation today. We are just going to do this in the car.
Hopefully not crash.
Yeah, because my leg is up on the dash. If we crash, my leg is like shattered. What I struggle with as far as motivation, if I have a lot to do, I'll get overwhelmed as far as like staying motivated. If I have a lot to do, it just all becomes so overwhelming and it all blends together. And what I end up doing is just kind of ignore it altogether. Main thing that I have been struggling with as far as motivation is like my real estate stuff, because a lot of it is so foreign to me. If it's something that I have to learn, or if it's something that kind of freaks me out, I find myself just kind of putting it off, or be like, okay, I'll do it this weekend when I have like a lot of time to focus on it. But then it just becomes so overwhelming, and then I just put it off, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks passes. Keeping up my motivation to do stuff that I don't want to do can also be a little overwhelming. And I guess working out is another big one.
Yeah.
That both of us, like, there's some weeks or some times where it's hard to keep the motivation to work out. And I would say what's even worse is eating. Like, keeping the motivation to eating, like, healthy and clean. Those are my big ones.
Mine is overwhelmed too, but like having to do with like, so if I have a bunch of schoolwork to do, that takes priority over going to the gym. But in reality, if I just plan ahead and bring my bag to school and then just go to the gym right after, like I say I don't have time to do that stuff, but in reality I like get off of class and sit on the couch for 45 minutes and then feel bad about not going to the gym when I could really just, not complain about it and just go.
Yeah.
I mean, you end up feeling like crap because you don't hold that promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you get discouraged from not going, and that kind of snowballs into, well, I haven't gone the past 3 days, I'll just start again on Monday.
Yeah. If you're going to be motivated about something, you have to have some sort of passion or some sort of reason behind it. Like, you can't just say you're going to do something just to do it. There has to be a reason, whether you want it really bad or whether it's like you have to do it to have success. Because if you don't, you're never going to follow through with it. Like, you have to have that backing.
So this thing where like someone was talking about like your motivation gets you started, but your perseverance keeps you going. So like everyone can have motivation for a week, but to like actually stick with something, like you have to like find your why.
Yeah.
I stole that from somebody, but I don't know. I think a main one for me is having people that you can reach out to when you're busy and stressed. Like, I reached out to you this week when I was like, I am so overwhelmed and I just feel like I'm gonna have like, I need to just get all this off my chest.
Yeah.
And I have that like with you, and just like someone that you can be like, hey, I'm really stressed out right now. Can you remind me what my goals are next week when I'm feeling stressed out again?
Yeah. You have to have those like accountability partners and people that you can reach out to. Yeah. If someone knows your goals and knows what you want, they can keep you on track. They can kind of, help push you forward, especially in those times where you feel like self-doubt or your motivation is lacking. Like, I think it's of huge importance to have someone that's actually going to support you, because sometimes when you have those rough days or rough weeks, you just kind of want to give in to the temptations or just say screw it. So it's definitely good to have some sort of accountability partner. If you just lay out your goals and your whys, I feel like it's really useful to have a list. Because sometimes you'll try to like think through everything and be like, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. But if you have like a list that you can like sort through, it just becomes that much less overwhelming, because you can see it all laid out, and then you can kind of organize it from there, like how you want to do it or what you want to do first or how you want to approach it. And I feel like it's easier to work into your schedule. And when you have free time, it's just like you can kind of pick from that list as far as like what you have time to do or what's important to you, and you can even number stuff as far as like what's important
priority,
for you to accomplish. Yeah. And it's just so much easier to see it like written out on paper or have it on your phone or something. It's so much easier to go back to.
Thank you.
Editing. I know. I feel like that's another thing, is like we don't manage our time well. It's called the 80-20 rule. So 20% of your activity, like just 20% of it, is gonna contribute to 80% of your actual results. So basically 20% of your 80-hour work week, right? That's when you get most of your time done. So if you just take out that 20% and you just focus your time, say you put aside 20 hours of work in a week that you're just gonna work, and you have a goal to get everything done during that 20 hours, you're gonna get it done because you set aside that time and you're giving yourself that time, and that's the only time you're giving yourself. So you're gonna work that much harder to get that much work done in 20 hours. But when you have it set up where you're sitting here working 40 hours a week, or you tell yourself you have to work 40 hours a week, you're gonna end up working those full 40 hours, but you're only truly going to be pushing and working for 20% of that time. All the other time's just gonna be wasted, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're doing whatever you want to do to distract yourself. You're not working hard enough during that full 40 hours to the point where you can cut it down to 20.
I hate one-word responses with passion.
I feel like I have one word response all the time.
So annoying. Like, just don't say anything. If you initiate a conversation with someone and then you send a one-word response, like, don't even fucking initiate a conversation. When I sing songs, I get this weird accent. Like a mix between like country twang and Australian.
You know so much
But Taco Bell has a good Baja Blast. We're going there.
people just want stuff so quickly, like they want it like now. So if they don't get something right away, I feel like they lose motivation. They'll set the goals, and if they don't meet them, then it's just like, well, I'll just move on to the next thing, or it's not meant. I hate the it's not meant to be thing. Like, if it just doesn't work out the first or second time, like, you have to have something in mind that drives you, and you have to stay consistent in it, and you have to be patient. Because I feel like, especially our generation, we want stuff like right now. You didn't stay motivated long enough to do it. You can't be afraid to fail. From a lot of those failures, you learn a lot. A lot of people look at failure as just an opportunity to stop trying or to quit going for it. But honestly, like, people fail so much when they're trying to get to these big, like, you don't see any successful people who haven't consistently failed at something. It's just them remaining consistent throughout them trying to get to their goals. If you remain consistent when you're trying to reach your goals, you're gonna constantly fail, but you're also gonna be constantly learning. I love like motivational videos too, like those ones that they have like those speakers in the background with like the building up music. Like, if I'm having a hard time getting up in the morning to work out, like, I'll throw one of those on and I'm just like,
let's go.
I've actually listened to those all the way through working out too. Who you surround yourself with too can also help as far as reaching your goals and motivation. Because if you're around a bunch of people who are unmotivated to do anything, it's hard for. I mean, ultimately you're your own person and you're gonna do
still,
what you
I feel
want to
like
do.
you kind of regress a little bit because there's that baseline, and if you're like, well, they're only doing this, so I'm doing a little bit more than them, so I'm still, achieving my goals. But if you surround yourself with better people, their baseline is way up here. So if you're below it, you're like, well, I need to work to get,
You're still responsible for your own actions, and you have the ability to also keep yourself motivated. It's just a lot easier when you do have those people around you who push you or have higher goals or whatever than you. And no one's saying, like, get rid of your friends who no longer fit. You end the video.
Hey, Sriracha!